Hej, jeg er Martin Strikker, og du lytter til Samtaler fra Istanbul, en podcast fra bloggen mitistanbul.dk.
So Şerif Yenen.
Yes.
Is that how I pronounce your name?
Yes, Şerif, the Şerif of Turkey. This is how I introduce myself to my foreign guests.
The Şerif of Turkey.
Yeah.
Don't they get scared?
No, it's just fun.
No, we meet each other because you have just released a new book set, an updated book set of Turkish Odyssey.
Yeah.
Which is like a cultural, historical storytelling, not of Turkey, but of the lands that
Anatolia.
now.
Anatolia. It is the story of Anatolia, actually.
Why is that so important to you?
You know, the land that we live on now is one of the richest lands in the world from the historical point of view. Some of the turning points in human history somehow took place in these lands. But unfortunately, the level of interest that the people who live on this land that they show to these cultural richnesses is so little.
What do you mean by that? Are you talking about when they dig and they find something and they hurry on, put some concrete in the hole and then run away?
No. Turkey is one of the oldest civilizations. I mean, the land-wise, it has hosted so many great civilizations from history, starting with, civilization-wise, the Hatti, the Hittites, the Urartians, the Lydians, the Lycians, the Phrygians, the Pamphylians. So many. But ask the citizens living here now, do they care? Not so much.
When you first published it, was the first book actually written by a Turkish person about the Anatolian history?
That's an interesting coincidence, because I started as a tour guide 37 years ago. And I was doing tours all over Anatolia for a few weeks with lots of guests in the buses and so on. And each time I was going on a tour, we were in need of lots of books, because people coming from all over the world had different interests. Some were more interested in the biblical heritage in Anatolia, some other historical, some other cultural, whatever. So whenever I was going on tours, I was taking at least 5 or 10 books with me in my suitcase. After a while, like 5 years passed and so on, I had a big dream. That dream led me here now. My dream was, I wish I had a book that would cover all of these and we wouldn't need to carry so many books altogether. So those were the times in which computers were new. I had just bought a computer, for example. I'm talking about 1990s, early 1990s. So I said, why not? I already started taking notes by hand to use in my tours. So why not I put them all together and then I convert them into a book. Whatever I would need on these tours, I started compiling them. So I was getting printouts from them, and I was traveling with American visitors most of the times for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I had the chance to show these texts or printouts to my guests. So they were, in a way, proofing them for me. Whichever information was missing, they were giving me tips. Or I was telling about Turkey from these texts. And if people were still asking more questions, when I was returning from tours, I was adding those answers to the newly asked questions as well. So it got better and better and better. It took me like 5 years. And then I was able to self-publish it because one of my American guests sent me self-publishing manual. It was a gift because they saw how I was struggling with it. So they sent me a surprise gift. Whatever was written in that self-publishing manual, I was doing them one by one, step by step. So that's why it has been a complete book with its index, with its bibliography, with its everything, you know.
That's the first edition in
The first edition. I even got the Library of Congress things and everything, you know, from the US. These were the times in which we didn't have any internet yet. So I was able to publish it, self-publish, in English. Of course, I had editors as well. Another English teacher living in Istanbul did the editing work for me. Every week or 2 weeks we were meeting in a cafe and exchanging ideas, sometimes discussing. Anyway, so when it was published, I noticed that it became the first cultural guidebook of Turkey written by a Turk in the English language. So otherwise we would be using the other wonderful books. I mean, the Blue Guide, the Lonely Planet. They have different aspects, different approaches. For example, in the first version, I was explaining why we have those water pipes in the toilets.
Oh.
Because...
Well, it's actually a good
people are curious about it. Yeah. They don't know how Turkish people use it. So... this is how I started, and later I noticed that my colleagues, tour guides, liked the book a lot. And there is a very notable professor, one of the earliest professors from the Republic era. His name is Ekrem Akurgal. He is the author of very, very notable archaeology books from the early years. He passed away now. So I had sent him a copy. He wrote me back, congratulating me, saying that this book is so wonderful, has to be used in all of the schools as a textbook. So these encouraged me a lot. Wow. Later, with the recognition that I got from my colleagues, we were going to have elections for the Istanbul Tour Guide Organization.
Oh yeah, that's something with you there, yeah?
And then they said, well... we would like to see you there, my colleagues. I said, no, but I found myself sitting there as the head of the tour guide organization in Istanbul. I continued guiding all my life with no interruption. I stayed at that position, both Istanbul Tour Guide Organization and National Turkish Federation of Tour Guide Associations. TUREP. I had one ultimate goal during the time that I was there. In those times, guiding was not recognized as a profession. It was seen like a part-time job. And I said, I have to pass a new law, a professional, a vocational law that would recognize tour guiding as a profession. Like lawyers, like doctors, like accountants, and so on. They said, you are dreaming impossible. They said, in this country for the past 30, 40 years, no professional laws have been issued. But I had this ultimate goal. After 12 years working on it, I had meetings with the current president, then he was the prime minister, explaining him why we would need this professional law to regulate the profession of tour guiding, because the tour guides are the people who are in the window, front window in tourism. So if we increase the quality of the tour guide, if we regulate this profession, I said we will be able to increase the quality of tourism. Turkey is a travel destination. No one can argue that. So it was accepted, and one day I couldn't believe my eyes. I was reading in the paper today, the tourist guide law is going to be voted in the parliament. It was voted. It passed. So it is now recognized as a profession. In my tour guide license, registration number is 1.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
But that law was changed like 1 or 2 years ago, though,
Yes,
right?
they cut it off a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like the quality of a tour guide is
Getting
like going
lower
down.
now.
Why is that then?
Because the people who represented our profession after we left didn't perform well. They didn't create a good image of tour guides. They didn't fill their positions nicely and fully. So our government decided to take some of the rights that they gave us before. They took them back.
Sometimes I hear some funny things at tour guides. They are saying that it was actually the Turkish people and the Ottomans who brought the coffee bean to South America. And I was giggling. Is it typical that you tour guides, you give a little good story now and again, a little too good a story?
I mean, it's out of control. There are too many guides now.
How many guides are you in Turkey?
I'm sure at least 10 to 20,000 tour guides in Turkey.
Yeah.
Turkey is one of the biggest travel destinations in Turkey, in the world.
In the world, yes.
And 40, 50, 60 million visitors are coming each year here. And not everyone is touring with a guide. But we have people from all around, from everywhere, from all kinds of people. Our goal was to increase the quality higher and higher and higher. I wouldn't like the 2-year colleges to be tour guides. I would prefer 4-year colleges. One of our goals was to allow tour guides to go farther in their education, like masters, PhD. Now it worked well. Now we have guides who have titles like professors. Professor tour guide, you know.
Ah, all right.
Yeah. So
because they studied all the way up.
they continued.
Nice.
So I think it's a natural selection. Things will get better. The visitors are never stupid. They know what they are hearing. They are able to appreciate the good and the bad. So survival of the fittest, survival of the better, I guess.
This is again where your book actually comes in. The bogsæt, Turkish Odyssey. You're not lecturing in the book. I was so surprised, like positively stunned when I opened the books, because I was ready for one of those typical books, you know, it's written by a Turkish person, so you know there is a national pride. Well, you have a national pride, wonderful, but that's not the most important thing.
What are you saying? There's no fanatism?
There you go, exactly.
Really?
There's like, oh my word, imagine that. We live in the lands that used to have like thousands of years ago. How did you manage to control yourself so you did not go overboard with your national pride?
There are some errors. For example, if I make a new edition, I'm going to take out some of the things from there. Without double checking the information, I don't add any information there. But, you know, we are all humans. Sometimes there are mistakes. For example, I have a section named as Did You Know? There, I mention about the Phrygian music influencing the jazz music and so on.
Yeah.
I think it was a little exaggerated. Now, for example, in the next edition, I'm going to take it out.
So that's one of those good stories that becomes better.
Yeah. So although I try to be so careful, but you know, sometimes you make mistakes. Yeah. We have to admit one thing. The visitors are rather interested in the mystic side of the story. They love the stories. So if you just tell them the historical facts, they don't enjoy it. So you have to embellish it with stories. But there is a very fine line there. That's why, as a tour guide, I always find it safer to say, well, legend has it that. It is said that. I don't know how correct it is.
So the disclaimer.
Yeah. So
So when you wrote the book, you were quite conscious about not overstepping the too nationalistic.
Yeah, I had to find a balance there. Yeah.
I mean, I really think this could be a school for students also in Scandinavia, because the first book especially, where you go over some of the ancient
Mythology,
settlement,
architecture,
Things like
ancient
this.
languages.
things like this. And this was so crazy. I was eating it raw.
And also the glossary at the end.
Yes.
I find it so important, so valuable. I put it at the end of each volume, for example, in case you don't carry all of them at the same time. It is there available for you.
And you cross-reference the books without cross-referencing them. You do not tell the story again, but you summarize a couple of lines of what happened in another book. Was like, here's the story again. In you, as you mentioned before, the did you know, for example,
Yeah.
which is a great way. All of a sudden, there's a did you know? Oh, let me break out of what I was reading. Oh, yeah, nice. So I really enjoyed that.
Now I'm making videos of these did you know facts.
Those are short videos. You're making on social media.
Yeah.
And it's a great way. You know, it's really fun.
Yeah, people love it.
We are sitting here in Küçük Ayasofya, which is a magic place. And to the listeners, if you hear some chickens and whatnot around, there are really chickens in the garden here. Why is this special? Why do you think we should meet it? Because, well, it's silent, it's quiet, and it's nice, but yeah. There's a story here.
Yeah, there's of course a story. My attitude in tour guiding is a little different. I've been guiding for 37 years. Maybe tens of thousands of people I traveled with. Of course, if they are coming to Istanbul, they have to see the Ayasofya, the Topkapı Palace, the Blue Mosque, and the Grand Bazaar. That's for sure. You can't avoid that. But the travel trends are or have been changing in the past many years. People want to do the highlights, but they want some experiences now. What kind of experiences? Off the beaten experiences. They want to go to the back streets. They want to discover new places. They want to see what is behind. They want to taste the local food. So, of course, there's a supply and demand relation there. With these changing trends, we are also changing. In the first year, when I started guiding, we would go to the Ayasofya and we would start, well, ladies and gentlemen, this building was built in the 6th century by Justinian. This is not what it is anymore. So I have a few favorite places like the courtyard of the Küçük Ayasofya Mosque in here. I generally meet my guests in these corner places. This is a great opportunity to sit down, to get to know each other, to give an overview. I open my maps, the map of Turkey, the map of Istanbul. I speak about the geography a little bit, the position of Anatolia in the world map, and what did it bring along with it. And then I bring the topic eventually to Istanbul, and how did this little town of Istanbul become the capital city for one of the biggest empires in the world? How did it happen? I mean, so I tell about these strikingly beautiful stories, and then from here we go and see the rest. So this is one of my favorite places, and there's a beautiful story lying behind this one as well. Imagine this little Ayasofya Mosque was formerly a church built by Justinian. Justinian is the notable Byzantine emperor who built the famous Ayasofya, but he built this building here as a small church even before he built the Ayasofya. So this is a beautiful version, small version, an earlier version of Ayasofya here. And there's also some nice story lying behind that. Yes, okay, during the Turkish period, it was converted into a mosque. Sometimes I see these conversions as an advantage. If they didn't convert it, they would destroy it. So at least we have the building here. Maybe not in this one, but in other places like the Kora Church or, the Vefa Kilise Mosque. That's why with the new trends and with the expectations of the visitors, this serves so well. That's why we are here. So rather than meeting in one of the ordinary mass places in the center, I wanted to meet you here in a quiet corner.
Well, I love this place. It's one of my top 5 mosques here in Istanbul. If you should name, now I said top 5. If you should name top 3 must-see mosques and not the
except for the highlights.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is one of them, of course. Uh-huh. There is also Sokollu Mosque here nearby, just up the hill on the hillside here. Famous with its beautiful tiles. It's a work of architect Sinan too. And also the Zeyrek Mosque, which was the Pantokrator monastery once upon a time. I like that one a lot. The one that I just mentioned, the Molla Gürani Mosque, which was also a church. It's a beautiful place. What else? I also, of course, Kora Church is one of the highlights. Rüstem Pasha is another beautiful mosque. And I also find the cisterns, the Byzantine cisterns of Istanbul fascinating.
Mm-hmm. And they are opening more and more of these small cisterns all over Istanbul. For example, Gülhane cistern opened a couple of years ago, right?
And also, on the main road, underneath the terrace of the Zeyrek Mosque, they just opened a new cistern. It is called as the Zeyrek cistern.
With a tea house inside even. It's quite charming.
I always say, in which other city in the world did they have about 400 cisterns?
Wow.
I mean, this is one side of the story. And the other side of the story, out of these 400 cisterns from the Byzantine era, now they have been able to identify 175 of them. So, speaking about cisterns, every visitor wants to go and see the Basilica cistern. Okay, I like it. It's a beautiful place. But it's not the only one. There are so many off-the-beaten cisterns. So we have to consider and we have to go after them as well.
You have had some VIP, and you do also luxury VIP guided tours in Istanbul and Turkey. And some of the VIPs has been like Oprah Winfrey, right? And Pope Benedict.
Yes.
How have they? How have
so
those
these are two different things, actually. One, when Oprah Winfrey came to Turkey, she actually chartered a big cruise ship, and she paid for her hundreds of employees and their partners to take them on a cruise tour with her. So there were about 400, 500 people in the cruise ship, all her employees and their partners, and Oprah was paying for them. So the ship was going to stop in Istanbul and Kuşadası to go to Ephesus. So I was asked to organize all of the guides and to be the guide for Oprah. So I was able to arrange top-ranking 50 guides in Istanbul and another 50 guides in Kuşadası. And I had the chance to tour with Oprah as well. So this is the story about it. As for Pope Benedict, I was the head of the tour guide organization and the museum director from the Hagia Sophia. Hagia Sophia was a museum back then. And they called me and they said they wouldn't know what language the Pope would prefer. But the Pope was going to visit the Hagia Sophia. So they wanted to be prepared with one guide, English-speaking, and another guide, Italian-speaking, in case he prefers Italian. And we went there, and it was such a great honor. We were waiting for the Pope in front of Hagia Sophia. Half of the city froze for security purposes there. And the mayor of Istanbul, the governor of Istanbul, we were all waiting for him there. So I had the honor to shake hands with him there. But his people told us he would prefer the Italian-speaking guide. So my colleague, Sedat, we were together there. Sedat did the guiding there, but I was all together with them. I'm in almost all of the pictures there. So my understanding was like this. Although I don't speak Italian, the Pope was such a humanitarian personality. He was listening to the comments about the Hagia Sophia in great admiration and curiosity. And he was making exclamations like this. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Oh, we don't do it that way. Those kinds of comments, very humanitarian comments. So that was one of my most memorable, honorable experiences from my career. And they later gave us thank you letters, official ones, and then a coin with the relief with the mint
with
of the Pope.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But you don't need to be, I mean, as a tour guide, every guest for me, seriously, is a VIP guest. So I take them very seriously. I get excited before I meet them. This is the dynamism of our job. You never know who you are going to meet the next day. And it is not only a one-way traffic knowledge-wise. You're sitting with them. You're telling them things from your culture. And then they are telling things from their culture to you. So you're asking them your questions. They love exchanging these ideas. So suddenly, rather than being a tour guide and tourist relation, it turns out to be like a cultural interaction between people coming from different backgrounds. So it becomes a wonderful experience that way.
So culture exchange in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
Very interesting. Now, you started 37 years ago as a tour guide, and before that you told me you were an English teacher.
I was.
So it's kind of like the swap though, isn't it?
Yeah.
But how have you changed yourself and the way that you're guiding through times changed? You say that there is like a change, that it used to be Hagia Sophia, Grand Bazaar, there we go, now people want something different. But otherwise, how has it changed for you?
I don't know how much I have changed. Of course, we are getting a lot of experience. Experience helps a lot. I always like to create new things. For example, for my 1 week, 2 week, 3 week tours, I always have a style. I look at the program, and then I love looking for empty gaps in the program, and people love discoveries. We have a program, written program, fine, but if I can find a gap, I always try to do that. I say, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? 25 kilometers away from here, there is a medieval castle, which I have never seen before. And we have like 1.5 hour free time in the program. Shall we go and discover that? They say, yeah. And then I say, look, I haven't been there before. So we go there, we discover this place, so it becomes a discovery for me as well, so that I get more enjoyment from what I am doing. It doesn't become one of the regular days anymore. either a place, either a restaurant, either a local food, something I have to add to my inventory in every tour. This has been one of my principles. While touring in the back streets of Istanbul or in the back streets of Grand Bazaar, I see a small door ajar and there is a man working inside. I go there, knock on the door, go inside, say a few nice words to him, start a conversation, and then I ask his permission if I can bring my guests into this place. And then Turkish people are some of the most hospitable people in the world, yes, to the extent of being naive, you know. So we go there all together. We ask him personal questions. He shares his passion with us. And, these become wonderful experiences in the end. So I have done this with wedding ceremonies in the villages while driving through, with the farmers picking cotton in their cotton fields. Can you imagine 35 American travelers in the bus, with the permission of the workers that I get in advance, are getting off, shaking hands with all of the workers in their field and making photos together. School visits. I even went to the red light district in Karaköy, to the brothel, official brothel, with the permission of the vice governor of Istanbul to visit this place. But I was telling my guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is a brothel. These people are trying to make money for their living. So we have a lot of respect for them. We don't want to take any photos. There is no humiliation. We are just going to see a different aspect in our culture. So the way you introduce it also plays an important role. So as a result, it becomes a nice experience.
It does make somewhat sense. You do have a background, well, though it may not be a long background, but from teaching, where it is, in a modern sense, it is supposed to that we constantly explore together with our students because we're teaching.
Yeah, exactly.
But you take that with you and add that on to being a tour guide and representing your country and history of your country and the lands, and explore together with the tourists.
My background as an English teacher, of course, has helped my guiding career so much, because it's, but if you just add the interactions into it, it becomes a nice thing.
What are your future hopes for the tourist guide industry in Turkey?
I sometimes get invitations to universities, the tour guiding departments. I love sharing some experiences in case I would inspire them. Or with an expectation of inspiring them. One of my key recommendations, because they always ask, how do you recommend we do? I'm telling them, the upcoming years in tourism, this is also what Turkey needs in tourism. I tell the candidates for guides, you have to find one or two fields which you love the most.
So specialize.
And then you need to get specialized in that. It could be anything in the world. It could be something which is already available. It could be anything which is not available yet, but you can start it. So I don't like mass tourism. I don't like overloaded tourism. Turkey is always looking for numbers. Oh, this year how many visitors came? Because of the supply and demand relation, if my barber shop is closing down and a Turkish delight store is opening in the same place, it means we are losing something there. I am very much against that.
This is what is happening other places in Europe, for example, in Italy and Spain, some places.
They started putting or adding taxes for the visitors.
Exactly. Well, almost in Turkey, though. I mean, my family have to pay like what, 1,000 lira to go down and visit the sister, and I come in for 90 lira. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. But so it's almost here, though. Do you fear that Turkey will become one of those, or maybe even Istanbul will become one of those, like too many tourists?
We are already there. So that's why we have to be very careful with tourism. We have to protect the traditional values. We have to protect the authenticity. And not every visitor coming to Istanbul has to see the Blue Mosque or the Hagia Sophia or the Topkapı Palace. We have to have a reservation system like in all other cities in the world. Am I able to visit one of the major museums in Italy just by walking in? Of course, no. I have to make a reservation from many weeks before. But our authorities do not see that. They want income. And then they overload these places, but the buildings will not be able to sustain themselves anymore because they are too crowded. That's why we need to go towards specialization. We need to make different themes of tours, and we need to increase average profile of visitors coming to Turkey, rather than seeing them as walking paper money bills. Because cultural tourism helps to understand cultures, mutually better. So Turkey has a problem already with the international image of this country. But those people who come to Turkey, and if they have the chance to go around Turkey, and if they meet the local people, they have more appreciation for this culture. Those people who do not want Turkey to be one of the members of the European Union, they have most of the times no idea about the Turkish culture. If they had been here, they wouldn't be thinking the same way. So these are the good parts of tourism. Coming back to the same question, specialization and doing different theme tours must be the next goal, I guess, for the tour guides as well. So rather than, we have to have tours like Byzantine themed tours. We have to have tours like ancient coins. We have art tours. We have to have more of these cycling tours. 100, 200 different. In the footsteps of Alexander the Great. Why not? So that's my thing in my mind. Yeah.
So with that said, and with the easing up from the law in 24-25 with tour guides, would that mean that you would be interested in getting back into tour guide organizations like politics in that way?
No. I quit my position there before I completed my term, because if you get somewhere as an elected position, there is politics there. That I hate.
You want to stay out of that?
Since the time I quit my position from the tour guide organization, I have never joined any meetings of these organizations. More than 10-something years.
Oh, wow. That's quite interesting, actually.
Yeah. So I am very happy like this now. I completed my mission. Now I'm so happy.
It's also a huge mission that you had. Like you did not just go in and say, yeah, we will all have a cup of tea. You went in there with a big dream, and you left with that dream fulfilled.
I make many tours with different themes. One regular theme that I repeat is the Byzantine enthusiasts. So these are History of Byzantium podcast listeners. And the podcast host is Robin Pearson from England. So every year, once or twice, we do tours with this theme, History of Byzantium tour. So I do my guiding, and once in a while we share the microphone, and he says, "Do you remember?" This is the rooster from the garden of the Küçük Ayasofya Mosque. And he says, from the previous episode, I was telling you the story, and this is where it happened. You know, it's a very nice combination. This year, for example, I'm going to try something new. I find it valuable. I find it interesting because there is a yoga. Well, I have a competition here.
You do.
There's a yoga instructor from the US, and that lady is going to bring her students. It's going to be like a yoga retreat for 10 days. So I'm arranging everything for them. I will be their guide, and I organize the tour as well. But the nice parts of the story, they love making yogas. So Turkey is a wonderful place for them. So we will be making yoga in a Byzantine period cistern at the rooftop of the hotel, overlooking the Blue Mosque and the Ayasofya. We will go to Cappadocia, another yoga session in a 13th century Selçuk period caravanserai. Well, maybe in a carpet store, each one takes a carpet and they make yoga on it. I mean, these kinds of things are really fun things to do.
Because they're like thinking completely out of the box.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everyone is looking for something different, something that is not easy to reach. So they want to visit Ayasofya, but many people would like to see Ayasofya at night when it is closed. So it becomes more valuable.
And that's where you come in the picture.
Yeah.
You know the people.
Yeah.
Which things in Istanbul would you like to see getting fixed up so they would be open for tourism?
Recently, I was also sharing some videos about this. For example, 20 years ago, while constructing the Yenikapı subway station, they came across with shipwrecks there. So they started carrying out the rescue excavations. It was such a big excitement. They found about 37 to 39 shipwrecks buried in the silt in the Byzantine harbor. That was a harbor once upon a time. And many of the ships were found intact, together with their cargo. So they continued digging even more underneath the harbor. This time they came across with Neolithic burials going back to 6000 BC. So they said this is the first time that so many shipwrecks were found all together in the world. And then they made announcements and they were going to open a maritime museum somewhere close to the station there. But more than 10 years passed and there is no news from the museum. We're waiting for it. So these kinds of things are waiting to be completed. That museum, and also, for example, think about Beyazıt Square, the ruins from the Forum of Theodosius spread on the sidewalk.
It's a little sad.
Thousands of people are passing by them every day without knowing what they are looking at. I mean, is it too difficult to put a small model there of the triple arch Theodosius gate there, or a small model of his column there? It would be more valuable. People would appreciate them. I mean, there is a gigantic size capital I mean, one of those that we would find in the courtyard of the Topkapı Palace, gigantic size. Just next to it is a garbage bin. If you have too many of something, you don't see its value.
True.
Yeah.
So you would hope that there would be more value put to it, but from higher level.
Yes. Yes. Also, for example, they have pedestrianized all of the streets in the Sultanahmet area around Ayasofya. But let's go there now. Let's see how many cars will be passing through. So if it is a pedestrian street, it's a pedestrian street. Yeah. So if we make it more presentable with a lot of information, it becomes something that you shouldn't miss. So the average number of stay for visitors in Istanbul is 2.5 days. Why? Because people come, they go to the Blue Mosque, Ayasofya, Topkapı Palace, the Grand Bazaar, maybe the Spice Bazaar, and then they say goodbye. But there's so much here. I mean, you could easily spend one day all along the Theodosian walls. If we could make a walking path there with a lot of information here and there. Yeah, the metropolitan municipality is doing a better job now, but still, we're not there yet.
Şerif.
Yes.
Şerif of Turkey. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Jeg er Martin Strikker, og du har lyttet til podcasten Samtaler fra Istanbul. Find mere information om podcasten på mitistanbul.dk/podcast.